Yo, what up, though, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Pop Culture 223 podcast. I think this is maybe jumping off season 4 on the podcast. I got some of the homies here with us. They not no special guests, none of that. They just the homies. So we about to get into some facts today. So I'll let everybody introduce themselves. Still, you got to know who they are. Go ahead, CJ.
Hey, my name is CJ. I'm from Detroit. Urban Defense Solutions is my company, and that's it. That's what it is.
You happy to be here, CJ?
I'm happy to be here.
CJ is on my head, man. Hey, when the next time we gonna do another podcast, man? I like this. You remember him from the Killer Bees, like, bzzz. Remember that episode? So he was on here. So
rushing the tunnel and shit.
Right. So then the other homeboy, Jeff. Wow. Is one of the DMI head instructors and owners. He is here. Introduce yourself. I just did a little bit. Tell the world about you.
I don't know if I can follow up CJ, man. That's
I'm simple, bro.
That's big shoes to. That's like Elvis is headlining, and you got to go on after him.
Yeah.
Hey, anyways, Jeff Wild, DMI Performance, just coming in hot off the heels of Blackout 2. The guy said we should get together and talk about some things, so I just wanted to come in, hang out with my boys here, and maybe learn something from them.
Hey, if y'all don't know, I got so much love for Jeff. He takes shots and they like silencers, right? You got to know Jeff to know when he's taking shots.
That wasn't a shot.
Hey, he called me extra because I be trying to put on for the city.
Hey, Bear called you extra.
I try to be extra to put on for my audience so people can see what the Pop Culture 223 is all about. You know, we rugged around here. You know, no budget, just out of pocket.
I guess it's so. Cause, hey, that one don't want to play, so screw it.
All right, so look, some of the topics we're going to be kicking it about today. Bear's on the ones and twos. I didn't introduce the Bear himself.
Yeah, they know who I am.
Okay, right. So some of the topics we're going to talk about today. The homie, I don't know him that well. I don't know him at all, really, but his name is Mark Manley. He go by AKA Mark Chopper on Instagram. His house was raided by the ATF. And CJ, I know you know about warrants and stuff because you've been a bail bondsman, so we're gonna talk a little bit about that. Donald Trump, we're gonna talk a little bit about that, not too much, just about the concealed carry reciprocity. I know Jeff was talking a little bit about it. They were trying to do it in the Obama era. You said they were.
It went back to on Bush Jr.'s way out. That was something that he was promising, and then, like any politician, Obama kind of latched onto it. Nothing ever happened, and then, after Obama, we didn't hear about it again until last week. So
okay, and then we're gonna talk about the Blackout match. Man, we were at an event last week. We was all shooting besides Bear. Boom, boom. I told Bear, I asked Bear to come, but once he heard that it was a 200-yard shot in the dark, he was like, I don't think I got the capabilities of that.
I didn't have the capabilities either,
man.
Hey, when we get to that point, Bear's gonna step out of the room. CJ's gonna slide over and produce.
I'm gonna just sit here, man, and just
you had to be there to talk about it.
Yeah, I'm gonna just sit here and ask questions and look in awe, man.
I do have some questions and some stuff to talk about that experience. So that was my first.
And then I mean, Bear can. So Bear is here as the consumer. You know what I'm saying? So he's gonna be the consumer.
I'm the consumer.
I want you to, Bear. I want you to, cause we gonna, it's kind of like a game. I want you to ask, why do I need it, or why was this, important, or this, and this when we get to that point.
Okay, for sure.
But before we do that, everybody, please hit that like and subscribe button. So if you like what we're doing, share it, because this is what we do. We like to talk about it. We in the life, so we just try to share our experience with everybody around. So please hit that like and subscribe button. So let's get straight into it. So look, the homeboy Mark Chopper, aka Mark Manually. What's today? Today is Sunday. I think his house got raided last week, right before. Well, I think
it was either Monday or Wednesday.
21st. It said 21st. Yeah. So I don't know if it was. I'm assuming it was a no-knock warrant or whatever. But ATF showed up at his house, banging on the doors late at night, and arrested the whole family.
For
they tried to say that the idea was that he had illegal guns and drugs in the house, but they found nothing at all. But my question was
Nothing illegal.
Nothing illegal. But if you know Mark Chopper, he has a history, he has a past. He you know, has some run-ins with the law, but he can, you know, he got a lot of guns, and he on Instagram, social media. He do stuff for the community. He's called Chopper Day, where, you know, he show people, you know, educate people about firearms. He get back to his community. So he's a focal part of that Maryland community, let's say, DC community. So
Would that be DMV area?
yeah, let's just say the DMV area. So I just thought that him being so visible that they didn't have to do that as severe as it was to me, because they flashbanged the house, they arrested everybody in the house, kids.
Wait. I didn't read that part. They flashbanged the house?
Well, I mean, once you have the element of firearms and drugs, it's a whole. That's a whole other.
That's a whole.
Yeah, I mean,
that's their claim. I mean, I don't know. I don't particularly know this person or heard of him, but if that's what they came in there for, those two charges, yeah, they coming in hot for sure.
I just thought, I guess, you know, I don't know. All the information hasn't came out about the situation. He just came on Instagram and he was talking about that they came in, flashbanged the house, arrested, you know, everybody in the house, pointed guns at kids, adults, you know, and all that information. So we don't know. They didn't find anything, but it wasn't local. It was ATF, so that's federal. So they had to assume that there was something there or something to why they come in so hot. I just thought they could like call him or not. I don't know. I just thought it might be something else to do.
Is he an internet personality?
Yes, sir.
So it just shows you, man, that Big Brother's watching everything you put online. So
Absolutely.
If you put something out there and it draws their attention, then, you know, where there's smoke, there's fire.
They build cases, baby. That's what they do. They build cases.
I just thought they could have been a little less extreme, just because.
Well, the only other option is to follow him and run into him in an intersection and scoop him out of the car.
So one or two.
I'd be curious to know why with the drugs. Like what brought the drugs out?
I'm assuming. This is just my opinion. He may be linked to something by association. Maybe people that hanging around or whatever.
There it is.
You know what I'm saying? Like he come from that city, that area. So his connections with friends or whatever could have maybe had something to do with it. I don't know. But he's just so visible on social media that I would just think like it could have been a different kind of conversation or whatever. But if they think it's guns and drugs in the house, I guess coming in hot. And then like Jeff said, you know, hit him outside. But I don't know too much about it. I just want to know what y'all wondered what y'all thought on that situation was.
So he didn't get arrested though?
He's arrested.
He said they arrested the whole family.
Oh, they did? Okay.
They arrested the whole family. I'm assuming he's out on bond now. He got to GoFundMe up.
Did they arrest the? So
if you look at the video, everybody came out.
Like I said, I don't follow his page. Now, is this a person that will have a full-blown switch on a Glock shooting? Is that his videos content type thing?
No. Not all switches, but
there are some switches.
No. I ain't even gonna say that. I don't even know. No.
Yeah, if there's any NFA stuff.
No.
I see a lot of that, and it surprises me that people are not. I'm lost behind that concept of people showing these switches on the internet.
I'm gonna say no. I don't. I watch his content. Everything I see is always like a community day at a range. People shooting guns, whatever. Now they could see somebody in that video of interest, and then that could raise a suspicion or a flag. I don't know. So no, he's not. That's not his content. But you know, it is what it is. But like Jeff said, Big Brother always watching.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope he got some good lawyer. I think he got a company behind him. And I'm curious in that situation with USCCA or Firearms Legal. Have your back.
I can't speak for those, but as a self-defense oriented insurance, I would assume that one's an easy one to deny. Like, we're just gonna deny that one right now.
Yeah, bro. I agree with Jeff on that one, bro.
But you know. In the comments, they were going left and just like, well, yeah, you know, they came in my house, da-da-da-da-da. I'm just like, and somebody, KD said, man, listen, you got a whole SWAT team outside, 6 people deep, with authority to be there. You about to go to battle with them guys?
Nah.
Right.
With a whole armored truck. You about to go battle?
That'd be your last post, bro.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
But
Say leave the Rambo stuff at home.
Yeah, that'd be your last post.
But whatevs. So look, what y'all think about the Trump trying to push this reciprocity statewide,
Nationwide or whatever.
nationwide?
I think it's a good thing. I mean, if I can drive in California with my Michigan driver's license, if I can get all the goods and bads of being married, no matter what state I am, with my marriage license, I should be able to carry in every state.
What's the bad though? What's the ugly about it?
I mean, I don't. I mean, flat out, CPLs are bullshit to begin with. So
Right.
if we gotta have them,
That's
we
what I
might
was
as well
wondering.
have
Everywhere, right?
everywhere.
So okay, so we just gonna interject with brings good question. Why do you think that they're bullshit?
Because you have a God-given right gifted to you by your Creator to for protection of self and the state to keep and bear arms. I mean, it's universal, applies to everyone. There's not asterisks in it. I think we talked about this the first time I was on the show, and so I'm no less American when I drive across a imaginary line into Illinois or Chicago or New York or New Jersey. So you're either all in or you're all out. That's my thought on it.
CG.
I mean, I agree with him. I think if you're gonna be able to do it in one place, you should be able to do it in other places. The CPL class that most states require for you to carry a firearm, again, is somewhat bullshit. It's not teaching you anything other than common sense that you should already know if you're gonna decide to take this journey. And again, if anybody that's a CPL instructor will tell you, most of the students don't come back after that first time. They don't hit the range. They don't come back, but they're ready to carry. So there's a part of me that says, okay, I think people need to have some type of requirements and training if you're going to take it to that level. But again, it's the Constitution is what it is, bro.
I'm literally took the words out of my mouth. I think the licensing thing is okay, but I think it's okay for the. I like what you did because I would have done the same thing as comparing it to driving, meaning that they say we need a driver's license to drive, to be licensed to do, and of course you have to go through some type of driver's training to learn how to drive. So with that aspect of, like you just said, the licensing to know how to properly do, I agree with that. And the reciprocity fact of it, yes, I 100% agree with that.
But I 100% agree with what Jeff said when he says I'm no less American if I travel over
First of all, stop saying that he.
I mean, that's
he was
just
saying some good shit.
just
Let-
makes
we
sense.
ain't
That
gonna-
makes sense. I mean,
I'm
not riding. I'm just saying.
He's
I mean,
speaking my love language.
That's facts, man.
You get a 5'11" and say, "See, you
That's
should have me
facts,
on the
bro.
show all the time."
That's facts. That's totally facts, man. As a black man, that even means even more to me when he says something like that. So yeah, I'm no less American if I cross over state lines with my firearm. You know what I'm saying? So,
So why do you think states had don't do it? Well, why didn't they adopt it? Like, why was it a big thing?
Because the reality is that some people or political parties have an agenda and they want to disarm the people. That if you have a public that cannot defend themselves, then they are relying upon the system to protect them, and thus the system has a reason for existing. Okay, so all right, now we got to protect 10 million people in Michigan. So how do we do it? Well, we got to build up a police force, to do it. So by disarming the people, you take that simple. Just by being alive, you have the right to defend yourself. Okay, it's not because of the Constitution; it's because you're alive. The Constitution just says the government can't take it away. Okay, so you have that ability, and if we take it away, then we just create a victim mentality. We a victim enriched zone that people are reliant on a system, so you get bloat within the system.
So
your basis is not even reality when you're relying on that system because at the end of the day, they're coming 10, 15 minutes, 20 minutes after the fact.
Right.
Sure.
So in
Some places in times of hour.
yeah, in a situation where everything's going crazy, that's a long time, bro, for just something to be panning out. So I mean, at some point, you have to be able to defend yourself.
It's funny you said that in the political arena when we were fighting the man and some tax increases. They're like, hey, more cops equal safer streets. It prevents crime. And it's like, well, if more police prevent crime or because there's more to patrol, how come firemen don't patrol to prevent fires?
Right.
Like, that's stupid, Jeff. I was like, well, that's what you're telling me.
Right.
It's like, just by someone driving down the street, crime doesn't happen.
Right. Now they walking around with the red trucks with the water hoses. Damn! I think that made.
Hey man, your grill look a little too hot.
Right. So
Well, I used to get phone calls from the homeboy in Pittsburgh. I don't know about Pittsburgh. He stayed like in the city, and he was like, "Man, the police literally came on TV. The sheriff's like, look, we can't get to y'all. We can't help y'all."
Mm-hmm.
Basically, what he said.
That's what Craig said in Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
I know what I'm saying, but I'm saying it's not just in our state, but
it's everywhere.
in his state, in Pittsburgh, where he was at, it was like every night it was crazy. He was calling me. He was just crazy. He's like, man, police said, look, we can't protect that. We can't protect you.
The question to ask, okay, and this one screws people up, is how many police have to exist to stop the crime from happening before it happens? Right? So if more cops equal safer streets, less crime, and they are a reactionary force, right? They show up after the crime. How many do you have to stop the crime from
starting in the first place?
And so my argument is, if we just deputize everyone in the city, we have maximum
Coverage.
potential for cops, and crime would go away using that mentality.
Deputize everybody.
But now we're way off on a tangent here.
Jeff about to get in his bag, y'all. This is what he do. I guess too. What do you think about, Jeff? Did you hear this too about not carrying a CPL at the state building? They passed that bill.
Yeah, that's
857, 857.
Unfortunately, my rep is the one that's spearheaded that, and it's trash. I think anytime we add pistol-free zones, we create a
haven for shit to happen.
Well, it came on the cusp of the gentleman that ran up in the Capitol with a rifle and aired out people. And I'm thinking to myself, well, technically, he wasn't supposed to be there. He was doing something. He was doing harm. He was doing evil. But if we had somebody there to counter that, it wouldn't have happened.
I mean, we all know there's evil in this world. Right. So I mean, you're not going to be able. But I don't think that small percentage should make everybody pay for that small percentage. You know what I'm saying? But
so I've been at the state capitol during 2A rallies and seeing the guys open carry in the library, why it's in session and whatnot. And what else? If the government doesn't fear the people, then the people should fear the government. That's basically how it boils down.
I was just like, okay, but then you had it kept popped up because you had an idiot in there that said some off the wall information. I'm just like, look,
it only takes one idiot to.
Well, he's throwing racial slurs out there, so it took the focus of that and then it went to him.
The problem is freedom allows for idiots.
It does.
If you want freedom, you gotta have some idiots.
Hey, that's a drop. We gonna get that drop. That's a drop. Jeff dropped, bro. Jeff got some.
He dropping bars.
He be dropping.
He got the woo in him, baby. Let's go.
Woo, baby.
Method man is in the
What up, though, Jeff?
Killer bees on the swarm.
Hell yeah.
What up, though? So look, man, we did a thing last week. Man, I had an awesome time, man. We were at the Blackout. It was the host range was Black Creek Range.
Yeah, Black Creek.
Black Creek Conservation.
I was like Black Creek Ranch, Yellowstone.
It's like KJ's pimping the event, doesn't know the name of the event or the range.
It's just like the homeboy Handsome Jeff owns the range with his partner.
It's BC3.
BC3. X actually was what was Axe's title there?
Axe was actually the one hosting the event. So
Axe was
it was
hosting the
an
event.
Axe event.
So it was an Axe hosted event at Black Creek.
Hit the button. I think that's the first one. The second one in Axe history, maybe?
We didn't. We weren't the official host last year. But our guys still went and did it. They ran it for Jeff. Jeff wanted us to, and so the board just kind of didn't feel like we had the proper SOPs in place to within our rule set to go up there and call this an axe match. So we worked on it for a year, and then we came out.
And I want
named it
to
Axe.
I want to
Real quick. So that was an official axe match then.
Yes, episode 2, the E2 was definitely an axe match.
Okay.
Blackout. Got my shirt on. BC3. So I want to thank y'all, man. The board, the RSOs, everybody was there. Jeff, just this what y'all do for us as shooters and the individuals in that community, man. I want to do a big thanks to y'all. I can't say it enough. Y'all put a lot of hard work in. Just with rules, keeping people safe, people go home, leave with the same many hoes they came with. Pause. So
No Diddy.
no Diddy.
No Diddy.
But y'all do a great job, and to see them coming out, I ain't gonna say the comfort zone of actually hosting a match outside of where we at. It was cool to see, and I knew when I seen that logo, I was like, "Oh, this gonna be epic."
Nice, thanks. I'll share it with the rest of the board.
So that brings across another question though. Do you think that you'll have more axe matches outside of the Blackout event there? Like, will there be axe matches there as well as where,
we have the mechanics in place to have charter clubs. And we have in the past, we've kind of reeled them back in when their visions at those different places started to pull away from the axe vision. We mutually departed. But the thing is, before I used to be, hey, we need to grow this thing. I want to grow it. And as I've gotten older and put a lot of blood and sweat equity into this thing, it's kind of like, all right, well, do we just do what we do and do it really well and not worry about the expansion? We just keep it unique, or do we, throw it back out there and let the world consume it? And so I think that decision is going to come when my time is done on the board. But it's definitely pushing that way. I would guess yes.
Well, I think with social media and exposure, and some people like, man, I went to the website and I couldn't see nothing, or whatever it is, or this, that, and the third, and I'm just like, well, it's on practice score. You set up for a match, and it's there. So I think with the more, I don't want to say social media coverage or posting it, more people may show up or will show up, because I see different faces out there now, and over the course of time, it's just same faces, but it's also different faces.
Yeah, over the last 3 years, we've seen a change in the throughput, right? So we've got a lot of new faces, and then I miss a few months, and I come back and I don't recognize anyone,
Right.
And so I'm like, hey man, where'd you hear about us from? Who's
Right.
talking about Fight Club? And it's practice score. People just get on practice score and search, matches near me or whatever, and we pop up, so they come try it out. So
I see a lot of 2-gun matches popping up now all of a sudden too. Like it's maybe they heard about Axe and they say, well, we want to do one at our own club, but then it get to you go there and it's like, oh, this is not Axe. Not necessarily. I get the idea, but it's not Axe.
So we did that. We did that outlaw match, and that was far different.
See, I was going to ask y'all about that. How was that in comparison?
Totally different.
What outlaw match did you go to?
It was the one in
Brighton.
And
Brighton Gun Club. I don't know.
Livingston Gun Club.
Yeah, Livingston.
Yeah. So they've had a prolific USPSA program and a prolific 3-gun program throughout the years. I think the 3-gun's kind of fallen off, and they used to. And it was my favorite match to go to, like once or twice a year when there was a 5th Sunday in the month. They would do a shotgun only match.
Oh, nice.
And that was a banger.
Okay.
But I think it's just, with the price of ammo, you got 3 guns that are the ammo's expensive for you. You can narrow it down to 2. So I think there's appeal for those multi-gunners that can or don't want to allocate funds for 3 different ammos.
Right. Well, like I said, it was dope. It was fun, man. But the Blackout E2, let's talk about it.
That was
CJ, what's your thoughts on it?
Ooh, so I learned a lot. Like I said, I tell people, man, you got to
CJ
get
was
out
like,
here.
I don't think I got a light that could go 200 yards. I was like, it's not the light.
No, but like I said, there was one of them stages. Like they said, I think you said you heard somebody build a transmission. I was up there cussing like going crazy, bro. But the experience was unbelievable. I'm not gonna lie. I think there's something. If you're into this stuff, it's definitely something you should try. It's gonna push you to the next level. As it started getting later in that day and later in those stages, everything that I know was cramping up. Everything. So fatigue sits in.
Mm-hmm.
So you're getting all the elements that's gonna go on if you had to be out there just on some survival shit. So yeah, it was fun. I had a lot of fun. I definitely will prepare next time a little different for it. But yeah, I had a great time. I'm definitely want to do another one.
What was the your favorite stage?
The shootouts.
The shoot house?
That shootouts, yeah.
Yeah.
The shootouts was pretty much the 200 yards. That's where all the cussing came in. I wasn't even. I mean, I was just sitting there at that point. It was just wasted. I don't think I got timed out. I think I said I'm done. I think I literally said I'm done to my man. Just go and do what you gonna do. And it took me 20 minutes to get down them stairs. My body was in all type of pain, bro. You know what I'm saying? But
What did you run? What did you take up there?
I took that Rostic Arms, that R15, and I had my Walter. I was running a Walter for the sidearm.
What kind of lights were you playing with?
Please, here it comes.
Here it comes. I had an Olight.
Mm-hmm.
Again, the Olight, it does stuff when you're at the house. But me going into like
Was that your rifle light or your pistol
it
light?
was a rifle light.
Mhm.
Like I said, it works fine for what I needed to do for it. I mean, I don't, 200 yards that's a high powered flashlight, and I've seen people miss even with that flashlight. But
So CJ, on that note, man, let me just while we're here. So is your rifle capable at 200 yards?
mhm,
All right, so that means you need a lighting source that's also capable
100%.
at whatever range that is going to be. So
Yeah, 2 things I took out of that when it came to that light. One is the range of how far that light can go, as it being a deterrent and brighten up stuff. But 2, that Olight is a chargeable flashlight. So if you don't have any means to charge it,
Mm-hmm.
you're kind of fucked. So that's not a light that I would rely on just because of that aspect. So again, going to that match, I learned things. I constantly keep learning things as I go in this thing. I've been doing this now a couple of years now as an instructor. For the USCCA, and I was an NRA instructor, but I've always been into firearms.
Did you have? So how did it go when we went to CRC in that dark house? Did you have the Olight then? You couldn't have seen shit in there with that Olight.
No, I did.
The
The Olight was fine.
He went
it just
first.
wasn't good at 200 yards.
he went first. Wasn't no smog and stuff in there.
I mean, you talking about the shootout?
I'm talking about I'm talking about at CRC with the smog and the light when you went through that house.
Oh, that's yeah.
So CJ, back to this. It's capable for what you want to use it for. On the first, when you come to low light handgun, we're gonna find out about photonic barriers.
Okay.
Right. And so if someone's throwing, a nice concentrated 100,000 candela in your face and you have a light that can't counter that, you're blind. You can't see anything.
No, it makes sense. So
So if you're clearing your house and some dude says, "I got you, check this out,"
Right.
you're like, "Shit."
Right. See, I always thought again.
Oh, he got that little punk ass light. Here we go.
Certain things like this open my eyes to certain things. I always thought that I was just thinking that urban environment, everything's going to be within 7 to 10 yards of a battle. I mean, I've
Say
never
3 yards. We know you.
You know what I'm saying? But
Silent assassin.
I know. But, yeah, equipment is definitely key especially if you're trying to do that competition stuff. No doubt.
All right, consumer. What you think about that, consumer?
Think about what? Talking about the light.
Why do I spend $100 or $200-$300 on a light? I got one on my gun.
So I think in general, I think there's a few things or a couple things.
He trying to come with some bullshit.
No. I think that everything that Jeff said is correct. However, the only thing I would say that I understand where he's coming from when he said from what he does or what he needs to do. He's not expecting the typical consumer, shall we say, isn't expecting to have to, big quotes here, need a light that's that powerful, because I don't think most people are going to assume or think that said opposition is going to have something as well that's that powerful. Not saying that it can't and they won't, but I think, again, big quotes, the consumer isn't thinking that that's what they'll need. Most people that aren't, even at its smallest or lowest level of what we do as far as shooting competitions or whatever, like we just talked about earlier, somebody come to a CPL class, they're not coming back for extra training. You might get 1% or
Small percentage,
2% at max, 3% max, 5% or whatever. That's actually going to do that. So they're not going to. The general public isn't really going to be tuned to that or look at the dollar amount of what it's worth versus the dollar amount of the big number. While I get and I'm with him, I understand.
Because it's not a means of financial need. It wasn't a financial,
right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not a problem. I can buy 50 of those fucking lights if I need to.
Right.
But
they thought that one was good enough.
I just, in my situation, I'm a project boy, so we don't have 200 REIN shit going down in the projects.
Right.
Everything is up in your face. So I do see the importance of a light.
Right, but that's why I said everything he said 100%. But I understood where you was coming from saying that. Like you said, you're not going to be thinking I need 200-yard distance or something that powerful because, like you said, in the hood or somewhere crazy,
you have a low light class.
Ain't gonna have that.
I'm sure he can explain the importance of. Like I said, you never know what you need until you need it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So one thing, what CJ was saying is that he comes to the match and it's the shakedown of self and gear, right? And that's what we say what it is, okay? You're testing yourself and you're testing your gear. And what did he tell us? He had some personal failures, right? The body was breaking down, and so we know that we can all probably do something, on the fitness level to help alleviate that. And then there was the gear issues. So for someone to say, "Hey, I think that it's bullshit. It's a theory and it has nothing to back it up." So CJ's out there and he put his equipment to the test and was like, "This just wasn't good.
Not good enough."
So now it's based on real life data versus parroting something you've heard from someone else.
100%.
So kudos, good job, man.
Thank you.
And so my thought about that is, if you come into a gun store and you ask a question and I tell you, but then you go the opposite way because you don't think, because in my house, not saying you see this, in my house, I don't need this, I don't need that, but I say, look, this is new technology, this is what it does. Go with that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you go to a CPL class, you may not come back for secondary training, but you still go into a gun store and buy accessories. So why not buy the most powerful shit you can put on there?
Because like I say, you don't know what you need until you need it.
You don't know what you don't know.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I was gonna say to go with that because
then it goes back to the bullshit you read on YouTube. I mean, you may go on social media and YouTube and see advertisement, not you in general.
The way that I operate, I don't ask those questions to other people because I really don't want your opinion. I know that this is a job that I need to figure out what I need to do.
Where'd you find this guy? I like him.
It's like when you have CPL, when you have customers come to you and say, "Oh, what gun do you think I should buy?" I never really get into that because it's like my situation is totally different than your situation.
Don't matter. Whatever gun saves your life.
Whatever works for you. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So,
Corvette. Hey, he's a salesman. Remember,
right?
Hey, you need a Corvette? Come see CJ.
Tahoes, Suburbans, Silverados.
Come see your man.
I got that dope lease.
But to couple with that though, I think again it goes down to Joe consumer not being of this world fully like that. Like you said, it's not about the money for you because you'll go buy a bunch of them. But in the same tune of like you said, if a gun store suggests this gun, this light,
well, they're selling
sight,
too. That's
whatever,
their job.
They are. But if I go, if we go look at a cheaper, we'll say a cheaper whoever brand or whatever red dot versus a Trijicon or a Holosun, if I'm telling you, these are probably the top 2 on the market, or top 2 of 3 or whatever on the market. But they cost, this amount of dollar and that amount of dollar. But they also can see this, hex optic or, somebody cheap or whatever over here, and it's a third the price, but they still want it. Money still is going to drive the average, big quotes though, the average consumer for that. Most people are not going to really, like you said, do a research and look and see, okay, well, this is trash. There's a reason why it costs what it costs.
I would say this,
material,
and I'm being
cheaper
totally
glass, all that
transparent.
shit.
You would have a better chance of convincing me on what type of red dot than you would a flashlight until I took that match. Until I signed up for that match.
Lights are lights.
All my red dots are top quality because I took off for recommendations with other people that wanted something that was going to last.
Yeah.
So the Leopold I got.
But again, you're a person that's in this world.
Right.
Like he said, he wants me to come at it from a consumer standpoint because I like you said, the suggestion of firearms, man. And you being an instructor, man, how many times have you had somebody and they do ask you that question about firearms and you don't give them a specific, but you tell them, all right, so I recommend, these are for what you're going to need. I recommend to start off with Glock 19, M&P this, blah blah blah, whatever. And then you run into them a month later, 2 months later. Oh, okay, yeah, you got. What'd you get? Oh, I got this that Taurus G2.
Right.
Yeah, I got that Sky 9, or I got that
Star.
the Star. I got that Taurus G2, and you like, man, that ain't in your mind. You going? I ain't said nothing about neither one of these guns, but I already know it's because it was $200.
Well, everybody knows if you're in this
$250
industry,
or whatever.
it's an expensive hobby.
Well, usually what it boils down to is when they ask you that question, they don't want your advice. They want you to reassure them that their decision is correct.
Right.
And so when you don't reassure them, they just go somewhere else till they reassure them.
Until somebody tells them what they want to hear. Right.
And eventually that sales guy's going to be like, oh, yeah, that's legit. I got 6 of them.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Well, Jeff, what about you at the Blackout? What was your favorite stage?
That shoe house was pretty legit, just because.
Go ahead and say it. I missed the target down the hall.
Oh no, we'll get to that later. But for most of you, it's probably your first chance in like a real 360-degree live fire.
That was my first for sure.
And so when you first experience that, at least when I first experienced it in legit shoot house training course, I was like, everything that I've done up to this point was bullshit, right? So this is real now, and so hopefully you guys had that experience of like, hey, so I thought it was legit. So running a competition, versus how you would clear a house or whatever, you still got rules and you got to make it safe for the SO that's running the event. So some care was put into where the targets were placed and so it could all happen. But I thought that was legit. And I was telling the guys that, if we change things up for next year and we could make a couple stages out of that, you just rotate back to it and you move stuff around, you go handgun only, rifle only, like we could really maximize that experience.
Yes.
And, I didn't say that about any of the other stages, right? Like, we could maximize the experience on that. So I thought it was legit. And Jeff at Black Creek, they built a sweet facility and they cut me loose to set the targets up. And so I think we captured it. And
that shoot house was the deal.
It was safe.
Well, I guess, I took a structure class with you, a fight club.
You just violated the NDA, it sounds
I did. Can't talk about it. Sorry. I edited that out. I'll blur it out. But whatever. So it's weird when you go in there and then you got 120-second time and you see this big old room and you're like, you're on time and you got to run through it. It's like, oh, man. How it get to me like, okay, you got to go fast. And then it's like, ooh, I missed a whole.
Come on, Ricky Bobby.
I missed a whole hallway target. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like you put the timer on, you hit it, and you go, and it's like.
I had to take his shoes off to count. The penalties he got.
Hey, as soon as it's over, he's like, man, you're not going to like this. I said, oh, my God.
The experience was A1. No doubt about it. I'm definitely going to sign up next year. I mean, if it was a little warmer, though, man. Damn, it was cold out there.
So one thing to look at that when the last topic, talking about lights. So now you're in a structure in the dark, and like, wow, that light doesn't seem that bright anymore, right? The environment
Soaks up the light.
eats up light. And like KJ's instance, because he's running a can, and when he lit the light up, the can is taking half of his light off the target, and it's bouncing it somewhere else, and so you need more horsepower if you're going to run your stuff that way. So there's another instance.
I like the shoe house in the first stage we shot. I kind of liked it that stage. Well, I liked it the car scenario. We put the car in the trunk and you had to get out and you had to burn them down. I thought that was cool.
That was cool too.
From a scoring standpoint, it was trash, and we talked about it. But I did enjoy that stage as well.
Yeah,
just from the ability to time and reset it, or score it and reset it. It needed some work.
So that was probably the first time.
So wait, how about the trunk like Kim Jong and
so the SO drove up and you had to jump out, and as a solo team, it was pretty sweet.
Nice.
And it was crazy watching people run that stage, even with you. Did you purposely holster your pistol with the light on? Or that just happened like that?
Did I?
Yeah.
I gamed it.
Okay.
I was like, I just wanted a little bit of light, so when I got to the...
Because everybody's over there like, hey. Everybody was like,
I had a light right here, and I was like, should I turn it on?
Hey, everybody was reading the stage description. Can I put my second, my third day light on? Like,
so tactically, no, you're not going to do that, right?
Okay.
So in a gaming situation, I was like, yeah, I'm going to have a little bit of extra light so I know where to find that rifle at.
They're like, oh shit, Jeff did it.
Tactical advantage would be for you to have your light on while you're doing that.
Nope.
So
they're like, oh shit, Jeff did it.
It's like Axe compared to the Outlaw match that we did. It was more on that tip. So
when I got there, I was like, ooh, it's dark in here. But you still had some light from the glow sticks.
Yeah, but
what amazed me was the people that can't shoot handguns. They were exposed instantly. Those further shot. I mean, by further, I mean 15-yard shots in the dark.
Well, let me ask you this question: is it what do you think it is when it comes to that? Is it the setup of the stage and the target, or just the person's skill set?
What do you mean?
Because when you watch somebody run it, you have somebody go right and pot the barrel right, and then you have somebody go left and pot the barrel left, and then take off. Because you did have a steel target that was outside of on the right hand side of the other two. So if you went left, you could hit that steel from left. But I seen somebody shoot the targets to the right. He's right here, and then pot right, and then go across the threshold. I kind of thought, and I thought they were kind of exposed, but
they were.
But did the dark have something to do with it? They were exposed. I guess
it just. Depending on how you came out of there, you could be exposed to that target.
And that's I think this the cold thing about the stages. It's like you power one way or go one way, and if you don't really know, you run across threshold, and it's like
it's a thinking man's game for sure.
So let me ask you this then. So, do you think I'm good just going off what you said and how you said it as far as exposing people? Now, you said it with it being in the dark. Do you think? Kind of, I guess, adding to what you said, do you think the dark did that? Are you saying that more or less in the daylight or with light, they would still run the same way?
I don't think the dark made people do it. I think they still. I've done enough day matches to see guys. So, Kevin, that's actually a good question because with what CJ said, it's a thinking man's game, and I tell guys that. Don't take this as training, right? You're not training for anything other than being able to operate cleanly with a set of guidelines. As a defensive shooter, you have to operate within a certain set of guidelines. So it allows you to practice the thinking aspect of it. So for me on that one, I'm always going to try and shoot from a position of my strength. So I wrapped around to the right. Okay, so I would shoot right-handed. And so that's the way I tackled it. And So some guys went to the left because it made the first ones closer or whatever, or they didn't know they couldn't or whatever. It is what it is. But
That was a gem. That was a dime. Because some people don't process it like that. Because when I did, I was like, well, I went left, and I was like, well, I can shoot that one quicker. I just thought it was trying to cut down on time.
so in a gaming standpoint, okay, so you look for a point of efficiency. So you don't want to create extra stop points. Okay? So you had to move up to the wall anyways to get the rest of them. So shooting that one from farther away, it's a self-imposed penalty.
Right.
Because you had to go there anyway, so you didn't gain anything by doing it.
So the stopping point was me stopping my...
You spent an extra whatever it was,
Seconds.
2, 5, 8, 10 seconds there, and it's a penalty at that point.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Why was it a penalty?
Because he spent the time doing it from far away when he had to move up closer anyway.
Gotcha.
So if he would have went around to the right, he could have got it, 10 yards closer and not have to stop somewhere else to process that one target.
I know Shane said this. Shane said, look, Jeff, you need to put in your curriculum how to shoot an axe match. Because
That's not what we do.
that's not what... because it's a definitely a merge of... It's tactical or whatever in gaming, but it's like it's almost like peanut butter and jelly go good together.
So to go back to what your original question was, and it's what I wanted to say was, at DMI Performance, we always say there's two types of shooters: that people that can stand still and shoot, and then shooters that can do something else and shoot.
Right.
So the failing was, hey, I have to lean out around this barrel.
Right.
So now I'm not in that perfect standing position. So now I'm out of my comfort zone. So that's where you see people failing, is because they have to do something else besides the shooting.
Right.
That's just a atypical shooting position at that point.
Right.
And you know what? I 100% agree that because that got from Thursday, from the match with the walk and shoot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we saw that 100 times over. It was from that shooter's lane, the challenge league thing or whatever. It was a part of it was you shoot from cover on the barrel, behind the barrel you shoot 3 targets. The next one you got to walk across and you got to move and shoot the next 5 in a row. And of course they were doing Virginia scoring, which means that it's however many shots are on target have to be that. Anything extra is a penalty.
But what made that interesting was that when you had to walk through those 4 targets, because
Right.
based on what angle you took,
You would get that penalty if you
would
overshot
get
it.
that penalty, because if you shot that target and you was at the wrong angle, you hit the target that was behind.
And that's what I'm saying. Like
that's what a lot of people did.
Right. Like you said, and you could tell, like I said, the people that weren't used to walking and shooting, moving and shooting, like you said, doing anything else but just being static and shooting in front
None
of a target.
None of it's natural, though. None of it's natural.
Yeah,
This
it's not.
This is all self-taught.
This is why, all right, so if we want to dig into some DMI stuff, when we start talking about human decision-making and the OODA loop, okay? Anytime that you can make someone have to make a choice,
Mm-hmm.
it gives them the opportunity to make the wrong choice.
Mm-hmm.
So as the aggressor,
Bars.
if you can make people make a choice, have to make a choice, then they can screw up.
Right.
And you see it. That's where people screw up in match play, is that they have to make a choice and it's
The wrong one.
it's the wrong one.
I made a lot of them that night.
Well,
One about not wearing long johns. Fuck, bro.
Hey, so talking about that, I had on the full 3-in-1 Helly Hansen base layer. I was taking clothes off. Other dudes was freezing. Good DMI Performance sponsor from Action Sports Agency. We love those guys. Another one is Foundation, where they have the heated base layer.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
Year's
come be an
gonna be-
alumni and get hooked
I'm
up.
gonna be straight next year. Promise you. I don't make the same mistakes twice.
hey man, that Hilly Hansen rain gear, whew, I bought that, I don't know, years ago, and that boy still is the top dog in my
Yeah,
book.
bro.
But something about the blackout, and then even shooting at the shooter's lane. I'm gonna say shooter's lane.
Oh, just for the record, too, Bear didn't make those mistakes. But Bear didn't had him extra cross shots. Bear came in like second for the night.
I'm gonna tell you this: if Jeff look at that, he gonna be like exposure.
Mhm.
This if any
what
of
makes
us,
you think I did it?
100%.
Listen,
100%.
like when I go there and look at that stuff, I'm like exposure, this, and this, and like they should kind of like, in my opinion, like do a. And what's his name? What's the old head y'all was just talking about? Scott. They need to do a intro to competition shooting, or just like step 1 to step 2, and then introduce the only why I say that because they put, like Jeff said, they put things for people to mess up, and because you have a gun in your hand, the things that can mess up could hurt the people that's there in some aspects sometimes.
So they like gotcha complications.
In my opinion, some of it, they just should have a step 1 and a step 2.
The first thing I think when you decide to do this, you need to decide what type of shooter you're going to be. Are you going to be a defensive shooter where you have to have that cover? Or are you going to be out there wilding out like we was at the Outlaw match?
Well, no, I'm talking about this say
one and doing the, you know what I mean?
What I'm talking about is
it's muscle memory you're screwing with. You know what I'm saying?
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about you come from a CPL class. So I just took your CPL class Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna show up Thursday and shoot that match.
Oh yeah. No.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah, no. Yeah,
Like you need to. You should have They should offer early class and say, okay, this is rule guideline, and kind of walk some through.
Are there any requirements for that? I think Scott knew me, so he didn't really have. But
No,
is there a
I
requirement?
think Bear did say they had to escort somebody out of there.
Yeah,
Like he got told twice.
So the thing is, in DMI Performance, we asked what a performance shooter is. I mean, it's someone that can put accurate hits on target quickly, right? And that's what we're looking to do. So the parameters of quick, fast, and safe. And that applies to any activity you do. So hey, here's a 5-minute course. All right, so you gotta know rule 1 through 4 of the life safety rules, and you just want to shoot fast and move fast and be safe. All right, done.
I hear you, but they did escort somebody out there. I don't think it was 2 weeks ago.
That's probably about a month ago.
It was
now.
It was the second.
People get DQ'd,
like
right? Freedom allows for idiots.
Things do happen, but
We've all worn the idiot hat once or twice in our lives.
Like you ain't never been DQ'd before.
I have. I've
been
always
DQ'd. I got
been
DQ'd
DQ'd.
that
We
night.
all have, and if you haven't, it's because you don't shoot
It's
enough.
coming, right?
Right, and that's one thing you
Right,
say. You ain't BDQ, you ain't shoot enough.
Right.
But back to the blackout. I think it was definitely an experience. Always shooting in the dark is always, to me, in that low light is add an extra struggle. I don't know what to call it struggle, but an actual element to overcome. And then like the physical aspect of it, we behind. Next thing I know, we jogging down hills like
bro.
like we got 16 people, so we had to sprint 32 times, 36 times.
Oh yeah, that was
Damn.
And I was running the shooters, and I'm like, I'm spent, and I'm watching these guys jogging. I'm like, that's that bullshit.
Hey, I come up. Jeff is on his knees stretching his back. I was like,
So we started with 18,
I'll be right there with
right?
you.
And so after 15, I gotta go. In the next 3 shooters, I'm like, yeah, you guys need to run this. I gotta go stretch this back out. Hamstrings were tightening up, and
so that was
you guys got 1 run through it, and so I had 15 runs. Times 2 because I had to walk through it. Well, it's times 3. I had to walk through and score it, and then go through and make sure you guys actually reset it.
right.
So I had 45 runs in the house.
Right. So
that point.
we had 30. We had 32. It was funny. Sinister was like, I ain't paid to do all this damn running. I'm saying you was the first one up front. I said, what the fuck are you talking about?
I was impressed. Hey, so
I'm running. Here he comes.
The squad 1 with night vision.
Mm-hmm.
It was 11 minutes between shooters. From start of one shooter, run, reset to the buzzer on the next, to the score was entered on the next shooter. 11 minutes.
Oh.
Our squad was 6 minutes.
Mm.
So that's
And we were white light.
And that was 11
we had
times.
and we had 18.
We had like 16, 18. Yeah,
How many they had?
We had 18. So they had what, 12?
Yeah, that's a lot of.
That's good.
That's a lot of
Impressive.
time. That's a lot of time on that.
So when I walked out, was like, all right, these are black pacers, these are tan pacers. Put them both in your pocket.
Right.
And dude was like, no, we don't have time for that. I was like, no, just because you couldn't figure it out doesn't mean that we're dumb, right?
Squad 3 was moving.
So we got this, and you guys did a great job.
What did y'all put into the stages that kind of would kind of equalize the nods opposed to like white light? Like, was it one that was particularly guided towards or staged for people that's coming with nods?
I don't think so. There were some complaints coming out of the night vision squads that white light had the advantage, and so
you got $10,000,
like you chose
$16,000 nods on you. So we got an advantage.
I was like, it's for sneaking around, and this is a sport about going fast. Right? It's like, so it's hard to tell some dude that, hey man, here's my $10,000 set of nods, and then I got a laser illuminator, and I got night vision, dots and IR lights on my handguns and whatnot. So it's hard to tell that guy that, hey, team guys, once they go loud, they go white light, right? So
for real,
and they had that option too. So it's just shake down itself in gear. It's like, all right, well, I need some white light now. Is click, nods go off.
Well, yeah, because I was like, I think that lighted room at the end of that shoot house was kind of their barrier because they had to come up off of.
So you had the photonic barrier that obviously, in a good set of night vision, will cut it off, right? It just goes blank.
Oh, really?
A bad set, you get the burst, and then you're like, ah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So.
See, yeah.
Well, both of those things are out of my range for me wanting to do. So.
Well, I don't know if I ever
It's
would.
a luxury item to me, right?
Yeah.
And I haven't crossed that threshold yet.
Yeah, I don't think I will ever cross that threshold.
I'm not sure you're gonna see Bear with that threshold either, man. I'm glad that it was a group for white light and it was a group for nods. So let me ask you this, because I wanted to ask this when you said that. So let's say everybody on team, one person, KJ, the one that came with nods, would he have to run with the nod group, or could he still run with the white light?
We were totally separated.
We separated them, but in hindsight, I don't really think there's a need to.
Okay.
Because you really don't need to use the nods till it's your turn to go. So all the white light shouldn't matter.
Gotcha.
The white light pollution, if you want to call it something. So I think you can blend them.
Okay.
And it won't matter.
Well, it also makes for we could have took some cool pictures with people with nods on. We didn't get the white light people didn't get no love.
Yeah, no.
Because the cameraman was in
the nod squad.
Was in the nod squad. So
whatever.
Nod squad.
I tell Kevin this all the time. If he put as much passion into his performance as he does capturing content, he'll probably do a lot better.
You know what I'm saying? See?
Buzz.
There go that shot.
Shots fired.
Shots fired. I guess it's a balance, man. I haven't got to that point yet. It's a balance. It's definitely a balance. But what did you have a question, Bear, about the? Let me ask you this. Somebody said, "Well, did the red when you was out there with your REIN 3 cloud, did it wash out your red dot?"
So I was running a low power variable optic, older Night Force 1-4. And so I find the only time I ever illuminate that reticle is in that transitional period from daytime to dark where it's low light, or the flip side, when the night's fading to morning. That's generally the only time I ever turn that on. And I had it on in the first stage, and I was like, oh, it's nice. I'm actually using the red dot. But when we got to the 200, I shut it off. I know that when I do, some dry runs around the house or whatever, and it's up close, it definitely will wash out
It will.
Yep. So like if it's a red dot gun in the house, that thing is all the way up that where like it blinds you
I was
when
gonna
you
say,
pull
so
it up in the
question to
dark.
the light that you were using that goes 200 yards. How would that work inside of a house, like a room this big? You bright, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it works fine.
It'll work fine.
So okay,
It
so
wouldn't take out your red dot. You don't think?
No, you just have that thing like what I said. If I stage a rifle in the house, okay, with that light on it, that dot is all the way up.
Gotcha.
So when I light this, it's gonna wash it out. It's gonna take all that extra light and
I see.
and dim it down into a usable light.
so what from the consumer standpoint as well, and just for knowledge, what lights do you run on your rifle and your pistol?
On the pistols currently, I'm running the X300 turbos.
Okay.
Been waiting for the cloud light to come out.
Cloud pistol light.
Yep, and they've announced that it's close, so it should be dropping probably by SHOT Show, I would guess.
SHOT Show.
So, but the X300 turbo is legit, and I've got them on almost every gun that I have a light on. For the rifles, I have a mix of the Cloud REIN 3s and some Surefire turbos, the new one that came out. So interesting enough, I've got a Cloud Legacy on the rifle I used, and it's kind of a Frankenstein light where it has the Cloud REIN 3 head on it, and then it has a Surefire switch plug-in, and then I have a Unity hot button. And mine went down, and I believe it was the Surefire adapter. It's just it's an old one, and it's dated, and they've got like an O-ring inside of it. I think it's worn out, so I was getting some jiggling.
Because the Surefire plug is like, I don't want to say it's a standard, but that's more or less like the standard of plug, right? Like the style of it, I should say.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it was,
Yeah.
but I think the industry's moved on.
Okay.
So everyone's coming out with. They just realized that when that switch came out, that it was for 1, 2, 3 batteries,
Right.
and to cash in on these 18650s, they don't have the whatever the I don't know my electrician terms, but the ohms or whatever,
Right.
it's
the,
not
the wattage or whatever probably
it's
isn't
not
the same.
it's not necessarily capable for that horsepower.
So tell us the again from consumer standpoint, tell us the difference, because you said you run both. You run the Cloud and you run the Surefire. What how do I want to say this? Okay, let's put it this way. Compare the two. Like what I'm guessing that the Cloud is your favorite, but what makes the Cloud so much better, more or less, and I guess just compare the two.
So that's a great question. I was hoping that we would talk about this, so I'm glad you brought it up. So I've got both, and I've ran both since Cloud's inception, and then Surefire was the gold standard for years, and kind of fell off, but is now climbed their way back to the top or near top. And Mod Light's the other one. I'd probably say those are the 3 that I would mess with. But so with Cloud and Surefire, I've got many of both. I've broke both. I've had both of them fail. Right now, I think Cloud's warranty is the best in the industry. I emailed them and said, hey, I've got a MCH, which is the handheld that's kind of dimming and flickering. And then their little admin light. So I got a Chicro that won't charge. And they said, well, sounds like you need a new REIN 3 head and you need a new Chicro light. Email me your address and we'll send it out to you.
How long is that? Is it like a lifetime warranty?
Yeah. So it was like within 2 weeks, I had a new head. I didn't have to send them anything. They just, hey, here's the new head. Here's the new, admin light. If you got any problems, hit us up.
That's what's up.
Sometimes you can have the best equipment, but if that response time from that company is not good, I don't want to deal with it, bro.
Well, Surefire, is a huge company in Cloud, so their customer service is probably.
So we used to have the connection back in the day, with ATEI. Doug over there had the connection, so we used to just bring them a pile of one. All right, and then just new stuff would show up at some point. But that was 10 years ago, and those people have moved on from the company. So So now we got to do like the commoners and go through the process.
So I want to get back to the lights just a little bit. 100,000 candela. Is it the same from both lights, or is one different than the other? Because not everybody's 100,000 candela may be the same as somebody else's 100,000 candela. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So the term you're looking for is the lux.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So lux is going to be that hot spot. The candela is the light going downrange,
right.
and lumens is the light at the lens,
Right.
and then lux is the light when it's hitting
Mm-hmm.
something there. So the tone of the light, the color of the light is going to. They're close. I think that that the cloud light is a little bit. The tone is a little bit different. But it's what it boils down to: is the hot spot and the halo, the spill. They're close enough where it probably doesn't matter.
Well, I know definitely out there, a lot of guys are like, well, what you running? And they were like, well, I want to see what each of them does. I need to buy one. But everybody out there was either a REIN or a turbo had upgraded. So
what was you running?
I had the turbo.
So mine went down, right? And it went, just shut off. And so I got my handheld out and just put it up on the ledge and turned it on and got an infinite amount of more hits at 200 than heavy did.
That was here all day.
Right, everybody.
Hey, well, that's where
But what was your? I didn't mean to cut you, but what was your? That was your rifle light, right?
Yeah, the turbo. Yep.
Your turbo was the rifle. What was you running for pistol though?
Surefire X300. I haven't upgraded that one.
Okay, so that one.
The non-turbo.
I'm gonna say that's the non-turbo. Okay.
Yeah, that light sucks too at this point.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
No offense. I mean, it was the golden standard, right?
Yeah.
And then just
the technology's changed.
Oh yeah.
Without a doubt.
I was telling somebody the other day, and they were about to buy the new Surefire one they got out, the U. I think it's called the U. Whatever one they got up there on coil, and the turbo was sitting right next to it. And I said, for an extra $10, just get the best one, the turbo.
Right.
Yeah, the Ultra is the one before it.
Yeah, and I was just like, it's the same cost. Like, what was extra $10? I said, just go get that. And then, conversation. I said, listen, I was literally at a night match, and I literally seen this happen. So just go ahead and get that one. Well, he's banging off the wall. I'm in the house. Blah, da, da, da. I'm just like, okay.
Especially if it's only like a $10, $15, $20 difference.
Well,
even at that point, 50.
So that the first handgun low light class I did,
way back when.
it was like 3 years ago. So when I touched off that turbo, and everyone was like, what's that? Right? And it was like, yeah, we want that. And the cool thing about the class is you just do a show and tell. We'd line everyone up. It's like, we'll take turns. It's like, all right, you shine your light, and then we'll go through. And
then you be like, no, I'm not stepping up. Go ahead.
so in that indoor 20-yard range, the guys really, really, really like the cloud for handheld, the cloud duty. That was the one when we do photonic barriers, guys wouldn't even shoot because they couldn't see. Their light couldn't beat it. So that handheld's legit. So I usually use that one or the MCH Extreme Throw, Max Candela one. Both great lights.
Who makes that?
They're cloud.
Okay. But you heard him say that his light did go down on his rifle or whatever, so he had to go to the backup light and was the handheld. So I remember you said before in the last time we had you on that you gonna go with your handheld all the time.
With a handgun, the handheld is the primary light.
Yeah.
In a competition setting, then it's going to be the weapon mounted light.
Right, but it went down, so you had to go to your handheld. So that was I just threw that in there so you heard him say that. He had to go to his backup light. So look, one of the homies had this question, and we're gonna get into this. What is the obsession with Knight's Armament rifles?
For me, or just in general?
Both.
So for me, when I got turned on to Knights, it was one of the lighter guns on the market. And early in my journey, I was like, this end of the world, like post-apocalypse type setting.
Do another
It's
10.
like I want a lighter rifle,
Right.
and that's what got me going on it. And so they were light, and the big thing, it's a professional grade rifle. All right, so you got hobby grade, recreation grade, whatever you want to call it, budget grade. You got professional grade. Secret Service uses them. Whatever the British Special Forces are called, they're using them.
SAS or whatever. Yeah.
And so at this point in the game, they've now modified that gas system so it's like stupidly efficient, where you're not having loss of gas, and that Mod 2 gas system is proprietary, and the guns just run amazing. They're like, when someone shoots one of mine, they're like, man, this thing is soft, man. It feels like butter. And
And you didn't change anything, buffer, or springs, or nothing like that.
nope, things just run. They're legit. I mean, until you've shot one, I mean, it just looks like a $2,500 AR, right? And then you shoot one, and you're like, oh, I get it now.
So what's comparison to that as far as, say, like how Daniel runs?
Daniels are probably a little more mass produced. They don't have that proprietary gas system, and they tend to be a little overgassed to, because their ideal market is the consumer market. So you have to be able to run on all these different commercial ammos that are out there. So they tend to be a little bit overgassed, so they don't have that necessarily that silky smooth pulse. And this isn't to bag on Daniel. I love Daniel Defense. The guys at Daniel Defense are incredible, and I would run a Daniel if I didn't run night. So
That's what you run, right?
Daniel. Yeah. I mean, when I met Jeff, he was like trying to get me to buy a Daniel long time ago. Long time ago. I didn't jump into them, but Knights was always around. And they were cheaper then than what they were now. And I just know he run a lot of nice armaments, and then I try to. If you got the money and you can get a hold of one, get one. Like I said, maybe your first and that's the rifle you maybe your first and last. It's like you said, it's top grade. If you can't, I tell people to get a Daniel, for the most part, or you can go into the build your own or whatever and put these parts in it, but you tweaking this, tweaking that, just buy a rifle that run. It's reliable.
so I can tell you that when in competition play, when I come up to shoot a stage, 100% confidence that rifle is just going to run, right? So there's no concern whatsoever. It's not. I tell people this rifle shoots better than I do, right? So there's zero concern on that point. So you got the confidence of gear when you're going in there.
Right. So no hesitation or something gonna go on with your rifle, nothing like that. I'm happy with my Daniel. It runs. Yeah, I since I got it, that's the only thing I've been running and shooting. So I wish I can get my hands on the Knights. We got a homeboy, got a bunch of them. I might just run one of his and call it mine. It's like both ours. But we just gonna share it at the same time.
Cuz.
Yeah. You said what?
I said this me now, cuz.
Right. But like I said, man, thanks for y'all, coming out to share the experience we had at Blackout E2. Hopefully we can get Bear out there.
It's definitely an experience. But
Hey, Bear was like, y'all shoot 200 yards in the dark?
No, they shot 200 yards in the dark. I didn't shoot shit.
I'm just saying, Bear, his when I told him about it, I was like, we doing this, we doing that, and then we getting these lights, and I was like, he was like, y'all shooting 200 yards in the dark? Like it was like a separation.
I was like, what?
One of the cool things about Blackout is from Inception, from Jeff Green, from Black Creek. He just wants to put on like the most kick-ass dark match you can do. That's
Right.
that's the parameter he's working under. And so he came to us. It was like, hey, you guys are like the premier 2-gun league here in Michigan. So we want you to. There's no reason for us to reinvent the wheel. So it was like a marriage made in heaven, and you know, his guys built that shoot house, and just the fact that going in, they have 100% confidence in us, and they want the best possible, and Axe is always going to be the all right. Let's
Tip of the Axe is a tip of the spear.
if
when
you
it
want
comes to
easy, this
multi-gun.
isn't for you. You know,
And just the fact that they operated that shoothouse with that many people, it had to be 100% on point because the safety was on point.
Right.
I mean, there was not a point that I was there that I was ever worried about something happening.
so me doing the 15 shooters, right? I was the one in the hot seat, and there was one point where those steel were outside, where the RO had to get close to you.
Oh, yeah.
And so that was, if something was going to happen, that's probably where it was going to be. And only one shooter like turned towards me and was confused, and that was KJ. But he was safe. But he turned towards me coming out of that, saw me, and he was just like, and then he sees me pointing, and then he went off and ran and did his thing. So everyone was safe and on point, and even the guys that turned towards me coming out of that doorway, you know, I just stepped back and was like, "Yep, I'm here."
Yeah.
But they came, and muzzle was in a good direction and stuff. So that was awesome.
It's crazy. Like at night, it's like the ultimate. Like you can ultimate F up, and it's like everybody was like, no. You know what I'm saying? It's like in the daytime, it's a whole bunch of turn on F ups, but at nighttime, it's like, okay, we're not gonna do it because we in the dark.
Can't be messing around, bro.
So, but like you said, thank y'all for coming out, man, sharing some time with us on the Sunday off days. Barry, you got anything else?
Lions are playing.
Yeah, when the Lions was playing.
Kicking
Hey,
tail.
do we still got any time left?
What you Bear?
Yeah, we got a couple minutes, man. What you want to do?
All right, I had one of our guys asked us to
I forgot.
ask this question. From a civilian standpoint, is it better to be more proficient with a pistol or a rifle, and why? And he has it as a discussion on his own podcast, so he was looking for us to answer the question so he could take the material.
As a civilian, okay, that's a good question.
That's a good question. I would say personally, as a civilian, I would think the handgun would probably be more primary.
Right. And-
As we all know, if you're in like, I have my AR set up for self defense in the house, but if that thing goes off, it's blowing everybody's eardrums out. You know what I'm saying? It's the one I got. You know what I mean?
So for me, I know he said pistol rifle, but you can throw shotgun in there too. But for me, it's handgun the same for the similar principles, but I think more or less the mobility and the flexibility to be able to basically use that everywhere. Now, can you do with the rifle as well? I believe you can train to do whatever with whatever as long as you train for it. But as far as civilian wise, I would go with handgun.
Yeah, I mean, it's based on your scenario. If I lived in a place where I had acres and I had to defend that part of it, that's different. But I think in my situation, in an urban defense, I would think that the handgun would probably be more.
That's where my mind is.
What do you got?
I could be
KJ?
wrong. I could be wrong, but
I would go with both because you never know when
It's
or
an
where.
either or, man. You gotta pick.
Was it either or question?
Yeah. Which one's better? I'm
Um,
gonna just say both. And
what was the question? He said,
I'm a
as a
BP
civilian,
I'm a BPC
what you want
about it.
proficient on? I'm gonna go with because I'm gonna say pistol. I'm gonna say urban because we carry a pistol on us 99% of the time, and when people talk about these truck guns and rifles and cars, I'm just like just don't know how when and where you gonna get to it if it get hot. You trying to get out and get gone, so I'm gonna say pistol.
That's kind of my thought process.
well, I'm gonna
You gonna
go against you guys a little bit here.
I'm gonna say, what say ye, Yoda?
So in the first hour of any DMI Performance class, we'll cover this, and mission dictates gear. So if you do not carry a pistol out into the streets, okay. So if home defense is the only consideration, rifle 100%. Okay. So if you do carry, and a lot of your time is away from the house, then it's handgun, no doubt. So the mission dictates what it is. So you come home and you can only be good with one. So it's important to be good with the pistol because you're using it every day. So I would prioritize the pistol at that point. But if you're not a gun carrier and it's just strictly home defense, it's 100% rifle only.
I heard Jeff say it was the pistol.
No, that makes sense.
Well, I
No,
guess he
I'm-
went with me.
well,
It was kind of
well, no,
either.
no,
It was like
I'm
both
best-
because
CJ
messing
started,
around, but yeah,
CJ
yeah,
started to touch it when he said, "Well, it
yeah.
depends on the scenario."
Right,
And it's right. Mission
right.
dictates gear.
Right. And that's why I also, like I said, I know the question was to just those two, but that's why I even added shotgun because again, that's
A
I
shotgun
mean,
would be
as much as
tertiary
I
to
want
me.
my rifle to be my primary, I just think
Right.
that
right.
reality would be that I need to train more with my firearm, my handgun versus I don't know. That's a good question. I like the fact that the AR is sitting on the side of the bed. You know,
you just hear people say, "I got truck guns, a truck rifle. What's the best truck rifle, a truck gun, or this?" And I'm just like,
And I
I
like
might grab my backpack and the bag in the back in my EDC, and I'm gone. So
see, and I like
don't know
I
how-
like
if
when
you have
went
that
with
short
the
barrel
truck
thing
gun
where you
thing.
can do that, that probably changes that question. Like if I had a backpack scenario,
So
I-
just to muddy the waters, okay? And we've talked about this in my previous visits. Seeing what prosecutors will throw at you.
We can wrap after this.
there
Okay,
we
seeing
go.
what prosecutors will
There we
throw at
go.
you. Okay, is it more acceptable in our society to shoot someone with a handgun or with a
Yeah,
gun
right.
of war,
the AR don't need no more exposure.
or
Right.
The
AK-47?
rifle needs no more exposure.
Right. So
Right.
so when you start thinking about that, you know, I often thought like, man, for home I want a gun with wood on it. You know, I want.
Nice little cherry wood. stock
So
on it,
so
you know.
Remington used to make that that pump
Mhm.
223 that took AR max. I was like, yeah, you put a wood stock on that, it looks like a shotgun.
Right,
It's
right,
like, look, I gotta pump it. It's
That
like
was
so.
that's the funniest looking rifle to me, man. that pump
I want
action
one
too,
so bad. I wish I would have bought one years ago. Slap a D60 in that thing. But that's sadly we got to think about that stuff.
Yeah.
Like so,
Yeah.
we know that the media is gonna. Oh, you had 500 rounds in your car and 2 guns. You know, as an arsenal, you were ready for war. And
right.
And
now, like the guy that asked the question, you know, truck gun with an AK-47. It's like, well, now you're using the gun that terrorists use.
Right.
And then
right.
So-
in our
The
CPO
optics of
classes, I
everything.
do go over a lot of that
Yeah.
perception because
Mhm.
perception can put you behind bars for
Mhm.
sure.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you get when you have the court of public opinion,
Yeah,
you say, hey, man, what kind of
shit you
loony
are,
rides
bro.
around with 500 rounds in their car?
What
It's
a,
like,
what a,
shit, I got
reasonable,
like
what a
5,000.
reasonable person run around.
What a reasonable
Right.
person.
What would the reasonable person think?
Right.
AK-47 with a drum and all that. So
Yeah, so sadly, that stuff has to be in consideration. And that's why I like 300 Blackout. Like, great round for home defense, but I don't think that it's smart to do it. Because you're relying on, well, I'm using the same rounds my local police department uses. And why do they use it
Yeah.
not to kill people,
Right.
right? So you're relying on your attorney to get rid of the easy stuff.
Yeah.
And by just, oh yeah, I got these 350 grain, you know, hand load 300 Blackout that sound suppressed when they're not, and so that's my thought on it.
hey, that was good, Jim. That was good. That was game. That was bars. CJ was dropping bars. Me
Jeff Wild, everybody,
and
Jeff
Jeff Wild was dropping bars. I was just sitting here in amazement. You know, my circuit was good, man. I
Hey,
got
when
good
we
people in my
talked
circle.
about this, it was what I envisioned. Let's have a round table where we just throw stuff out, and that was good. I liked
Yeah,
it.
that was fun.
Oh, you liked it?
Yep.
Yeah, man. Have a good time. Hope you have a
Hey,
good time.
I mean, you know, Jeff said you were talking his language. You know, when he get in
I think
there.
we have very similar. I mean, like I said, I think he can take from me that I'm always willing to learn. And if there's nothing
Right.
that I think there's nothing I have in a box. So I think it's if
open minded,
you're gonna
like, and
take on this journey, you need to make yourself uncomfortable, bro.
Yeah.
in on Jeff's curriculum is always like come with an open mind.
You got
Like-
to.
like
You got
in-
to.
I don't know if it's in the SOPs or somewhere somewhere in there. So always come with an open mind. So regardless it is,
And the things to bring.
getting things to bring.
Bring a gun, some ammo, a way to carry it, and an open mind.
So CJ, tell the people where they can find you at. I know we probably got on there, but we're gonna say it before. Say it again so
So
they
you can
know.
go to udsdetroit.com. You can email me at udsdetroit@gmail.com. I'm on Instagram at udsdetroit. and I'm on Facebook as Urban Defense Solutions.
Miss,
You can find him at a monthly axe match too.
In a monthly axe match, yes.
he signed up.
I signed up.
My man.
Jeff like, well, CJ signed up. He ain't show. I was like, hey, he gonna sign up for it.
I'm sign up every time, bro, to make sure I have the option. I give myself opportunity and options,
I love
bro.
it.
If
So-
not, it's a good donation.
I'd rather be safe than sorry. So for
Right.
the third, and again, what I love about this is that the cost is not. I mean, it's more so time. You
Right.
gotta put the time in.
But it's going to a good because they
It's going
you
to something
see
good.
what
Yeah.
you know it's your first time, but I see the evolution of steels and objects, that stuff they're using because of you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah, man.
people that contribute and
Like you said, put your gear to the test and put yourself to the test. You know,
Hey, as a first timer, you came out to experience this. What was your experience with other shooters?
as far as the night one,
No,
or
just,
just
in general.
I mean, I will say that like there was some intimidation going into it at first, seeing everybody all geared up,
Kitted
helmets
up,
on,
LARPing.
kitted up and shit. You know, I thought that
Full
was a
LARP
little.
mode.
Thought that was a little weird, a little bit at first. But now I see if you're gonna do it, I guess you need to have that gear. They were doing that night match. It was all about gear. If you didn't have that gear, how was you even gonna hang your glow sticks? You know what I'm saying?
Right, right.
So, but the experience for me was definitely to take it to the next level. I mean, that's something that I enjoy doing, and I will continue.
But everyone
So wait. So,
accept you in with open arms, right?
Oh yeah.
okay,
so it's-
so wait,
the
he didn't give you
camaraderie-
the talk then, huh?
Oh, the camaraderie. One thing about the gun industry that once I got into it,
Mhm.
I run across people from all walks of life, bro. I mean,
Yeah, all
I
day.
don't know where Jeff's
day.
from, but I come from the projects, Brooklyn, New York, Detroit. You got a lot of elements, but the one thing that we all have in common is this gun responsibility that
Right.
we need to have. And like I said, I was always in my neighborhood. Guns were always taboo. Only the
Right.
gangsters had them and the thugs had them.
Right.
Coming from a place from New York, I would even never live in a state like that at this point because of the fact that they won't allow
Right.
you to protect
You can't
yourself.
protect yourself like
So
that.
states like that, I mean, as I got older, I realized those are not places I want to be because I seen all that shit go down in those areas. So
Hey, real quick, it's funny you asked him that. For me, everything that you said, it was kind of like, oh shit, I expected. That's why I was joking, and I was like, oh, so he didn't give you the talk because.
oh no, he did. The very first
These
thing I
dudes look
remember,
like they're on patrol.
When he
Wait.
introduced it to me, he said, "Oh, this big boy rules." I was like, "What you mean by that, bro?" He's like,
Hey,
"Big boy rules." I'm like,
because when he first told me about it, I'm like, okay. Oh, shit, let's go shoot. You know what I'm saying? Because and that's one thing he's always giving me credit for. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people say they want to go. For me, it's a scheduling thing.
he woke my ass up.
well, he said the
that's-
same thing to
you
me.
know
I
what
don't
I'm
think
saying?
he realized when he offered that up to me that I was going to be in his ass every other Sunday.
Right.
Bugging him on when the match was. He said the same. It's big
all
boy
day,
rules. I was
all
like, what
day,
you mean by
all
that?
day. See, and like I said, for me, anytime I can't make it, like, of course, in the cold,
That's all the times.
the cold is a different thing, but, but
that but
The cold didn't bother me. It just made me know that I had to prepare for the next one.
Yeah, there's not bad weather, just bad
you
cold.
gotta
yeah,
prepare for the- you gotta
I
prepare
just
for
mean
the-
that, they shoot year round, so in the snow shoots and,
But
but
what's the perfect way to test your skills in those elements?
In the elements, though, but like for me, mainly it's a scheduling thing.
Yeah.
I got way too much, BS going on.
Oh, yeah.
But like you said, man, that first match, man, I woke him up. He was like, "What? You man?" I was like Tommy Buns outside of Nas' house, and
there was
man, I'm
something-
outside. If you don't start coming out, I'm gonna start blowing the horn.
'Cause I've been doing the CPL classes, but this is a whole
It's
nother
a whole
level of
nother-
experience.
It's a whole nother level.
Yeah, 100%.
So axe in its inception, like it predates me by eight years. It was, and I think we may have talked about this in the past, but it was veterans that came back from Desert Storm,
Mm-hmm.
or whatever else they had, this training, and there was not really a shooting activity that allowed them to use their training or, shoot an AR how it's meant to be shot.
Mm-hmm.
So they made this game. So those dudes had all the gear and kit. So as other people started to come, they're like, "Oh, okay, this is cool," and they either tried to mimic them or whatever. But
And it's evolved.
now it's like live action role playing. Dudes come out and
I mean, it's a way to get
Full
it's a way to
everything,
get
so-
away from the house,
Right.
get
right.
away from the kids and the wives, and go do man shit.
But
You know what I mean?
I'll say, and we can wrap. But to like you said, people warm and people helping and looking from for my 2 matches that I've been to. And I say,
Hey, we went to 2 in 2 weeks. It was a 1 week span. 7 days.
Well, that's what I'm saying. My 2 that I've been to, but
He could have put his whole season last week.
whole season last week could have done it.
Career stats could have been last week.
Could have been last week, right? All day. but like you said, everybody was cool. Everybody looked out. Everybody was inviting. Everybody was willing to help. You know what I'm saying?
I love
and
it.
teach.
I love it.
Yeah, we
So I
just
appreciate
guys
that.
out busting
I
balls.
mean, even when I got my first time out there, I got disqualified not because doing anything is
brutality,
safe, but I left my hanger on the table.
Yeah, yeah.
But I could say like no one ever made me
Hey,
feel.
he said, "Listen, you gonna have to drive yourself because
Now, there's certain things that just let me just keep before we go. I gotta tell you, there was a stage there was one of the stages where they had to jump into this mud pit, and right when I see my man come around the corner, I said to Kay, Kay, you ain't getting in my car with that shit, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not gonna allow we to drive 2 hours on that mud. I had no idea that shit was going down, bro. So when I seen that, I was like, oh yeah, we not doing that, bro. So it was 2 of them. I think Fred drove with us, right?
Look,
It was all 3 of us.
It seemed like he said, man, it seemed like every time we go, it rains. So the first time, I'm just regular gear, you get soaked up, whatever. That second match, but I had a whole nother change of clothes, whole nother pair of two, 3 pair of
CJ
shoes.
was like,
and all
"Hey, bro,
kind of
y'all
shit.
gonna have to ride yourself just in case."
true.
DQ.
Oh yeah.
So let me tell you guys this.
So
When I
just
started
jumped the floor and
shooting
we can rap.
competitively, I came out of the paintball industry, where you had to rely on 10 other dudes to make it happen. And so I got into the shooting competitively, and it was like, hey, man, I only got to rely on myself. And quickly I learned that, hey, all my friends aren't on the same journey.
Yeah.
Right? So I got new friends now.
You gotta find
And
it's true though. You got new
It
friends
is.
because everybody's on this shit like us, bro. You know what I'm saying?
well,
CJ
CJ, you hit me up. We're going. There's you don't like. Are you going? It's like,
Right.
hey, can I get you? That's what the conversation is.
She said, "Yeah, nah, y'all have to drive yourself because if something might happen, I got to go."
Yeah, I ain't sitting
Unless
up
I'm
too long.
working or the rare occasion the wife schedules something on the second Saturday.
Hey, I like I said, me and CJ had conversations, but hey, he was out there. He my dog. Nah, he stayed with
man.
it because we rode with him. He
yeah,
could have been he could have been anybody else and just like, hey, y'all gotta catch around somebody else.
Yeah.
Here,
I
just
rolled that one out.
just Bill Kevin. We're gonna keep this rolling.
I give kudos to CJ, man. He was like, hey, we rode with him. He had an early exit, and he was just.
I didn't really have a choice, bro. I didn't want to leave.
Hey,
you
he
out.
wasn't
2
like
hours away.
Randy DQ, and he took the first Randy DQ. He took the first bus out smoking.
Damn.
He could like, hey man, yeah. I ain't gonna ride back with y'all. We'll go back with my man.
Yeah, I'm out of here, man.
I'm like, all right, bro. No hard feelings. It is what it is.
Damn.
I gotta get back. I got something with the kids anyway.
I forgot I had a wedding that I had to go to today.
All right, man. We had a good time, man. Like I said, I appreciate y'all for coming up. Like I said, they're not special guests. They just the homies, the guests, and this is what we do. We talk about this on the phone and just regular conversation. So I hope all the information we gave about culture, all the topics today helped somebody today.
Sure.
And if it did, please hit that like and subscribe button. Subscribe to the Pop Culture 2 to 3 podcast. Anything else, Barry?
No, man. I'm good.
Oh, so look, game recognized game.
CJ got any parting shots? CJ, I'm taking over.
I'm good.
All right, look, game recognized game.
Hold on, Kev. Hold
We
on.
recognize you,
Hold on.
so please recognize us, and we out.